Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Vitaly and here I'm going to be sharing every step of my journey of building side project web applications. It will include things like finding a niche, brainstorming and validating an idea, looking into potential market, researching it, talking to customers, building the product itself, including programming part of it, releasing it, and finally finding first paying users. But first, a couple of words about me. I'm a professional software engineer and I've been in this industry for over 10 years now, mostly working in various startups in Berlin, Germany. In the past, I already attempted building some side projects in my free time, but unfortunately I never finished them. I would come up with a good idea, but then I would couple it with learning some new programming language or new technology, and as soon as I learned that, I would abandon the project. I think it's a problem very familiar to a lot of software engineers out there. This time is different. I'm really interested in learning and experimenting with all steps of product creation, all stages of it, from finding an idea, as I already said, to building the product, releasing it, and so on. In fact, this time my choice of programming language and other technologies will most likely be rather boring. I will pick something that I know very well and instead I will focus on building the product itself. If that sounds interesting to you, please click the subscribe button to receive the notifications about next episodes. And now let's talk about the approach and goals. I would like my first project to be rather simple. It has to be something that I can build in a couple of weeks, spending an hour here and hour there in my free time. And although I do care about making it profitable eventually, that's not my main goal. My main goal is finding 1,000 true fans. It's a concept from a blog post, to which I will share the link in the description to this video, that states that all you need is finding 1,000 people who will really appreciate the product you've built and will be true fans of it. Having this goal in mind directs me into building something beautiful and useful and also learning how to get attention to it. From my work experience in various startups, apart from the product creation itself, I have collected various pieces of knowledge about customer support, marketing, market research, and so on. But to really succeed in what I'm doing here, I need something more structured, something from the experience of people who have been successful in it. That's why, after some research, I have selected 2 books that I'm going to be consulting with during my journey. The first one is called Zero to Salt by Avrit Kal. It's a book that describes every step of bootstrapping a startup. Avrit has written it based on his actual experience of building and selling a successful product. Another book that I have selected is called Make, the Bootstrapper's Handbook by Peter Levels. Peter also has a lot of experience in bootstrapping various products, the most famous of which is Nomad's List. I believe these 2 books should serve me as really good guides on my journey. So let's talk about the idea. As I already said, I want to start simple and I don't need anything innovative. In fact, I would rather take some existing idea, some existing product, and improve it the way I see it, maybe adding a little twist to it. So I started thinking about the niche that I know well. In the past, I worked in advertisement and now I work in finance. But I cannot say that I know any of them inside out. I need something that I know much better, something where I feel like the fish in the water, to save time on researching the market and talking to potential customers and so on. In fact, I would like to be the first customer myself. That's when I realized that there is such a niche, and it's the software development itself. It's a niche that I know very well because I've been working in it for a very long time. I constantly read books, news articles, blog posts, and everything related to software development almost daily. So I started brainstorming ideas over the past week, and most of them turned out to be pretty boring. But there were two ideas that actually excited me. The first one is social katas. That's how I called it. A programming kata is a simple exercise or a simple project aimed at helping beginners in programming exercising various aspects of the programming language they are learning. The idea of social katas is a platform with various programming katas combined with public code reviews from more experienced programmers. So a newbie programmer or maybe an experienced programmer that just learns a new language can register on the platform, do a couple of exercises, make their code available to public, and get some reviews from people experienced in this language. This idea, I believe, has some potential because it creates value for a specific group of people, which makes it easier to advertise, to monetize, and so on. But unfortunately, it's not as much as about building the platform itself as it's about building the community and putting the right incentives there, especially for the mentors. And I want to build something simpler, something that is a product software, not marketplace. That's why I started thinking about the second idea, a blogging platform for developers. As somebody who owns a blog, I know what it makes to maintain it. In my case, I believe it's very important to own your own content. I don't trust Medium or WordPress or others to do it for me. That's why I self-host my blog on AWS Cloud. It's a statically generated blog, which means every time I want to publish a new post, I have to create it locally first in a markdown file, then generate the HTML, upload it to S3 and so on. It's very tedious, but I still prefer it to more traditional blogging software like WordPress or Ghost, because they're usually too bloated to my tastes. They have all kinds of JavaScripts, style sheets, all kinds of weird plugins and so on. And all I want is a very simple content-focused pages. I know it's possible to make them fast as well, but it means learning their APIs or plugin systems, installing those, configuring it and so on. And again, it's not the experience I want. It was exciting 10 or 15 years ago when I was installing 100 various Linux distributives on my computer, but it's not anymore. I am lazy today. All I want it just to work, but on my own terms. Finally, and that's something my current blog is not, I want it to be green and sustainable. Recently, I started thinking about all the waste and negative impact our servers have on the environment and on the planet. After some research, I have stumbled upon a website that calculates CO2 levels of a page based on its weight and loading speed. In order not to blame anyone personally, I tested a web page of one famous German delivery service. It turned out to be 60% more dirty than other pages tested on this website previously. Over 1 year, with just 10,000 monthly visits of this homepage, it produces 164 kilograms of CO2 equivalent. 8 trees are needed yearly just to balance out this negative impact that it creates. It made me think. I like minimalism in web. Simple, lightweight web pages focused on information only, no garbage. I like nature. I want my blog to be as green as possible, ideally in the 99th percentile according to that carbon calculator website. And finally, I want to own my content, my data, and don't mess with all the static website generators or blogging software and so on. And I must be not alone in such simple requirements. So I went and researched a little bit. I checked Reddit, Hacker News, and other websites where developers or technically inclined people hang out. And what I have found out is that there are already solutions that cover some of my requirements. Seeing those motivated me a lot because it means there is a niche, there is a market, there is a need and demand. And most importantly, none of them cover all of my requirements, which means I can build it and find like-minded people who will want to use it. To summarize it, I have decided to build a blogging platform with these three main qualities: minimalistic, content-focused, lightweight pages with blazingly fast loading times, content export functionality to allow bloggers to export their content anytime they want, in case they decide to leave the platform or in case the platform itself ceases to exist for some reason. Green, hosting it with a provider running on renewable energy sources, and combined with super fast pages, the CO2 impact should be as minimal as possible. I have decided to call it 0ms. It's a reference to 0 milliseconds loading times and to zero emissions. I know it's technically and physically impossible to have 0 milliseconds load times, but it is a nice aspiration and makes an easy, memorable name. In the next episode, I'm going to be exploring and brainstorming the functionality and features that will go into the first version, the so-called MVP, minimum viable product. If that sounds interesting, subscribe and stay tuned. See you next time!